Srila Prabhupada in one lecture, he mentioned that this word extended selfishness comes from his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because there's selfishness and there's extended selfishness. Okay. So the concentrated selfishness centers around the personal body. That's a concentrated selfishness. This is generally seen amongst the lower animals. And the extended selfishness is manifested in human society and centers around the family, the society, the community, the nation, and the world, with a view to cross bodily comfort. That means all this, although it is, I would say, including even whole nations and whole world, but it's still only on the cross bodily comfort. It's only on that platform. That means body and senses and sense objects. That's the kshetra. But above these gross materialists are the mental speculators. They're known as jnani, who hover aloft in the mental spheres, and their occupational duties involve making poetry and philosophy, or propagating one ism with the same aim of selfishness limited to the body and the mind. So the next extended selfishness is more on the subtle platform, on mind, intellect, in form of poetry, philosophy, or some big thinker who established some ism or something what they consider good for the people, for the society, and of course also for them. But there is more on the mental platform, but it's still extended selfishness on the subtle platform. First one is on the gross, the second on the subtle. But above the body and mind, that means above these two extended selfishness conceptions of body and mind, there's the dormant spirit soul, whose absence from the body makes the whole range of bodily and mental selfishness completely null and void. So that means if one reaches the platform of Atmavan or Atmarama, means one is more focused or established in his Swarup. That means in his there's microphone on. One is, I would say, absorbed in his own Swarup and his self, real self, eternal self. And on that platform, he understands that this material, gross or subtle selfishness or extended selfishness is something temporary and is not for the ultimate good of the soul or for self-realization. So the one who is satisfied or absorbed in the soul, means in the spiritual soul, Jiva Atma, he's happy in all circumstances. He's not touched by the external appearances of happiness and distress. So he's detached because he's absorbed in the soul. That's also stated in the Bhagavad Gita, explained in the later verses of the chapter 2. So for the one who is absorbed in the spirit soul, these external conceptions are neutralized. It's not important for him. It's not that he's seeing them. Stavara Changama Deke Nateke Dharamurti Sarvatra Hoy Niche is Deva Spurti. He sees the moving and the non-moving beings, but he doesn't emotionally cooperate or sympathizing with them or communicating with them just on bodily need platform. Although he can also do that, but he's only do this as a duty in the society or with his circumstances. Not that I consider him, he's just a fool, he's dumb, he's nonsense, just a zombie. So no, he can be personal, but he also understands the real point of life is the soul, the spirit. And he sees that in everyone's body. Actually, the body is just made of material elements. The subtle body is of subtle elements, mind, intelligence, the ego, and the polluted consciousness. All these four together is called antakarana. So that's the inner so-called self. But the inside of this antakarana is the atma, the soul. And that is what is important for a transcendentalist and for a devotee. And this is the whole subject of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Here Srila Prabhupada continues, because foolish people have no information of the soul and how it is beyond the purview of the body and mind, they are not satisfied in the performance of their occupational duties. The question of the satisfaction of the self is raised herein. The self is beyond the gross body and subtle mind. He's the potent, active principle of the body and mind. Without knowing the need of the dormant soul inside, one cannot be happy simply with emolument of body and mind. The body and the mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the bird, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. It's a famous example. So we're polishing the cave of the bird, but we're neglecting the bird inside. So after some time, the bird is dead. There's no more life inside. So what is the use of polishing just the external? It's considered shrama eva hi kevalam, waste of time. So the need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfills his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. Universe has 8 coverings. To travel already to the end of universe is practically impossible. And then there's still 8 coverings with earth, water, air, ether, each one 10 times more big than the previous one. So the soul actually desires to go out of this limited sphere of material nature with the 8 coverings, but it's very difficult to cross over these coverings or borderline of the material world or this creation. So the spirit soul endeavors since time immemorial to somehow or other come out of this bodily sphere, but it is practically on the empirical self-endeavor way impossible. So we cannot conquer the material bondage, and here it is therefore stated that the need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill the desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light and the Brahmajyotir and the spirit, the Atma, the original Atma from where everything is coming from. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead. There is a dormant affection for God within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and mind in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. This is possible only by hearing or chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Lord, and any occupational activity which does not help one to achieve attachment for hearing and chanting the transcendental message of Godhead is said herein to be simply a waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevalam. This is because other occupational duties, whatever ism they may belong to, cannot give liberation to the soul. Even the activities of the Salvationists are considered to be useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. The gross materialist can practically see that his material gain is limited only to time and space, either in this world or in the other, even if he goes up to the Svargaloka, Brahmaloka. He will find no permanent abode for his hankering soul. The hankering soul must be satisfied by the perfect scientific process of perfect devotional service. Abrahava Bhuvanal Loka, from Brahmaloka down to the lowest. It's all places of birth and death. Therefore, a devotee who is awakened to knowledge by good fortune will meet devotees, Vaishnavas and Vaishnava Shastra, and in this way his dormant, sleeping consciousness and also his eagerness to understand something more about this universe and what is beyond it, and how we actually can gain that place, how we can attain it by good fortune and by good association. One can become purified in heart, so that the taste a rati or an attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and for activities for pleasing Him will become manifest. That's stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, 20th chapter, text 11. There's a nice verse spoken by Krishna to Uddhava. Asmil loke vatamana svadharma sto nagashuchi jnanam vishuddham apnoti mat bhaktim va yadrichchaya. 11th canto, 20th chapter, text 11. Huh? One who is situated in what his prescribed duty, free from sinful activities and cleansed of material contamination, in this very life obtains transcendental knowledge, or by good fortune, devotional service unto me. That's the third part. Asmin loke indicates one's present duration of life. Before the death of one's present body, one can obtain transcendental knowledge, or by great fortune, pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. The word yadrichchaya indicates that if one somehow or other gets the association of pure devotees and hears from them faithfully, one can achieve Krishna consciousness, the highest perfection of life. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, through transcendental knowledge, one obtains liberation, whereas through pure devotional service, one can achieve love of Godhead, in which liberation is automatically included. It means a devotee, we discussed this yesterday also, a devotee doesn't have to separately endeavor for liberation, because if he attains Vaikuntha or Goloka as a servant of Krishna, then he will naturally be liberated. But he gains more than liberation. He also gets relationship and lila in the relation together with Krishna. Both results are certainly superior to ordinary fruitive activities, by which one tries to enjoy much the same things that animals do. If one's devotional service is mixed with a tendency towards fruitive activities or mental speculation, then one may achieve the neutral stage of love of Godhead, this prema neutral stage, shanti. Whereas those who are inclined to serve only Lord Krishna advance to the higher stages of love of God in servitude, dasya prem, sakya prema, and vatsalya prem, and madhurya prem. Friendship, parental love, and conjugal relationship. So that means Varnashram Dharma, the topic what is mentioned also, Dharma. Dharma means actually on the material platform, Varnashram Dharma. But if we only execute Varnashram Dharma without Krishna in the center, or satisfying Krishna, then Varnashram Dharma will not give us satisfaction. It will only give us a lot of endeavor and work, but in the end, also we will not get benefit. Therefore, one has to understand the focus or the goal of Varnashram. Because we are not on the transcendental platform, because we are still covered by material body influence mostly, and some may be intellectually inclined, as we heard, with extended selfishness and gross or subtle platform. And therefore, we cannot immediately engage in pure bhakti. So, but pure bhakti should be the goal, that we should never give up. Therefore, we need spiritual master who is teaching us how to engage according to our varna and ashrama, according to our swadharma, to our nature, engaging us in occupations, so that, but in the focus to please Krishna, to please Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is actually the goal of dharma or varnashram dharma. Is the goal of yoga. Is the goal of our occupational duties. Is the supreme goal of life. Is the goal of the Vedas. So when Lord Chaitanya was visiting South India, he came to Madras, and there he met Ramananda Roy. And Lord Chaitanya was very happy to meet him. Although Ramananda Roy, he was a Shudra or Kayasta by occupation, and he was a Grihasta. And Lord Chaitanya was a Brahmana and a sannyasi. But still, Lord Chaitanya was embracing him. So Ramananda Roy felt completely, shy and unqualified. Oh, this great soul, this sannyasi is touching my body, is embracing me. So he felt very humble, very shy. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, I'm very happy that I meet you. I heard from you, from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who recommended me that I should definitely see you and meet you. Ramananda Roy said, yes, this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is my well-wisher. He always thinks good about me, and he wants to help me. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy, because they're actually the Supreme Lord and his internal energy, eternal associate, Ramananda Roy, who came together. And so they wanted to have some discussion. So next day they met, and Lord Chaitanya started to ask questions, and Ramananda Roy gave the answer. And Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda Roy, so please tell me something about sadhana and sadhya. That means what kind of occupational or regulation we should follow. That means sadhana. And what kind of goal we should have. Because if you follow an occupation or a regulation, then you should have a goal. Otherwise, if you aimlessly, without a goal, try to fulfill your occupation, with the time it becomes dry, and you feel frustrated. Therefore, we have nowadays so many people who are frustrated because they have no goal in life, and because their goal of life is only sense gratification. And even that is falling apart now. So many people are struggling now to even maintain their family, their friendship, the society. Everything tries to fall apart. No proper food available anymore. Not enough money to maintain your basic life even. And even if you can buy something, mostly it's plastic food. without prana, without life in it. And everything is very expensive. And besides that, people are always in anxiety, you know, how do I actually survive, how to maintain themselves, how to survive. And of course, the first instinct of a living entity is how I survive myself. And of course, one also thinks about the next ones, relatives, if there's still some around. So, but there's an instinct for survival. And people have to, for that, they have to work very hard. Even have to get sometimes more than one job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. And it's not enough. Many times they have to work in these factories and very service, you know, without much thinking, just become like a machine. So naturally, this kind of lifestyle will not make you satisfied. Therefore, people have to take so much shelter in intoxication and in medications to pacify their mind and nerves. This antakarana is because it's completely agitated. Therefore, the body gets so much diseases. For that, the people have to take so much medicine, but also not helps them, also making them more and more dependent, and have to accept also always more and more medicines. But it's a devil circle. Never come out of it if you are in it. So therefore, the people are very unhappy, very unsatisfied, very much frustrated, many committing suicide. Actually, suicide rates, even amongst children and young people, it's increasing more and more. So that shows something is wrong in society, in this modern materialistic lifestyle of only consummation. The sense gratification, only for the satisfying the body and the senses. Bhagavatam, therefore, it is rebuking Shukadev Goswami. Although he's an Atmarama, he's not. He doesn't like to criticize or seeing fault outside, but he is pointing out the fault to his disciple Parikshit. Just see. This worldly-minded people who have no interest in Atma Tattva, the Grihamedi, they only have interest in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And all the time they're using only for that and working just to maintain that little amount of sense gratification. And as we heard yesterday, they have sleepless nights, they have nightmares. They cannot sleep soundly or peacefully because so much agitation, so much anxieties because of their jobs or no jobs and the situation. It's not only today like that, it actually happened before also. It was because we are always in the material world. Sometimes we think, yeah, it was previously better, now it's worse. Yes, maybe now it becomes more obvious worse. That even those who still are optimistic of materialistic lifestyle also gradually waking up and come to their senses to ask questions, what is all this about here? What is actually our purpose, where we are running, in which direction we are running here in our life, in our society. That's a great misfortune. The good fortune is that now many people can wake up and come to asking questions, and maybe start becoming interested in spiritual lifetimes. Therefore, in difficult times, sometimes difficult times in our life, actually most of the time it is like that, because in good time, one thinks, oh, it's very nice in Maya's dream world. But if the situation becomes very bad, then one starts to lament, but lamenting will not help, especially as a devotee. We hear from Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion, we should not lament, especially not too much. Because lamentation is just another kind of sense gratification. So also should we not be too much happy in material sense of success. For a transcendentalist, is na sochati, na kankshati, samak sarveshu bhuteshu, mat bhaktim labate param, brahma bhuta prasanatma. That's actually the first step, brahma bhuta prasanatma, to feel happiness on the Brahma, on spiritual life. Because there is no anchoring, no lamentation. And that's the stage where bhakti can start. The first start on karma. If one engages in karma, in fruitive activities, in regulated, especially in regulated life, one ultimately can come to knowledge. And if knowledge or jnana appears in life, and we start to read interesting books will help us in this direction, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we are reading these books gradually, more and more we come to knowledge. So, but knowledge gives not birth to bhakti. Bhakti comes not from knowledge, because bhakti comes from bhakti. But therefore, knowledge leads to a level of bhakti mixed with knowledge or with karma. And according to that, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, as we read in purport, we will attain liberation in the Vaikuntha, on the neutral stage. But you don't can attain an active relationship with Krishna as Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. That is only possible by the birth of bhakti, coming from bhakta. That means a devotee who has bhakti in the heart, who is a carrier of bhakti, and who, by association we can develop this bhakti too. It's like fire. If you come in touch with fire, you become fired up, right? So without fire, there is no fire. So we need to have a touch with fire so that we can become fiery. Then if you're fiery, then you have to see that you're not become extinguished again. So you have to stay in fire or in touch with fire, and you have to fan it and cultivate this fire by Shravanadi Shute Chitte Koryodoi, by hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna in the association, under the direction of spiritual master, Adha Guru Ashraya, following his instructions. Not only initiation. Initiation is the beginning. Shiksha, follow instruction. That's the hard work. That's the duty. That's the life. Beginning is the diksha, the initiation. So it's only the initiation. The initiation is the beginning, so that we can accept shiksha, full shelter, and faith in Guru. and his instructions. And then according to that, we are asking questions and we are acting accordingly to sadhana bhakti principles. So anyway, to come back to the Lord Chaitanya with Ramananda Roy. So Ramananda Roy, first question, answer or point was, what is a goal, what is activity, what kind of sadhana, and what kind of goal, sadhya, should we follow and keep in mind in our focus of life. And then he quoted the verse from Vishnu Purana, Varnashrama chara vata purushena para puan Vishnur aradyate panta nanyata tosha karanam. You find this in 8th chapter of Madhya Lila, text 58. So the translation is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashrama. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. And then later, Shukadev Sutta Goswami in 2nd chapter, text 13 of the 1st canto, he also quotes this verse of Atak Pumbir Vichar Shreshta Varnashram Vibhagasa Svanustitasya Dharmasya Samsidir Haritoshanam. O best among the twice-born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life, means Varna and Ashrama, is to please the personality of Godhead. So the means makes it clear here that the occupation should be ruled and regulated. Therefore, the spiritual master gives us also Varna and Ashrama. And our occupation duties to follow. And he also gives us sadhana, bhakti sadhana, under vidhi, rules and regulations. Sadhana bhakti has 2 parts, vidhi and raga. Both is sadhana. Actually, technically, there are 2 levels. One is sadhana and the other one is prema. Bhava is considered the 3rd part, but it's a part of prema. And therefore, it can be 2 or 3. But actually, it's 2. It's sadhana, and sadhana has 2 parts. Vidhi, Vaidhi, and raga, and prema has 2 parts, prema and bhava, bhakti. So, but we cannot become prema bhaktas if we are still like an animal, uncontrolled, wild, do whatever we like. So therefore, they have to become regulated by Vaidhi, Vidhi, Bhakti, sadhana. That means with according to rules and regulations given by the revealed scriptures, Shruti, Smriti, Puranati, Pancharatrika, like that. They are the scriptures who give us the knowledge how to act properly. And the spiritual master is guiding us, he helps us, he answers questions, he gives us direction so that we can learn how to follow that and make it our life and soul. By establishing our faith in this way, we become fixed in sadhana bhakti. that later on leads to raga and then prema. But first we have to become purified. And the goal has to be, sadhya has to be Krishna Prem. And Krishna Prem is not something that we can attain by sadhana. Sadhana only can help us to become purified, so that Krishna Prema, who is already in our heart, becomes crystallized. Nitya Sita, Krishna Prem, Sadhya Koranoi, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Koryodoi. This very famous statement by Lord Chaitanya. Nitya Sita, Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is Nitya Sita. It's always there. It is never destroyed. It's not somebody has it and somebody has it not. Every soul has the tendency to love. And that shows, we all like to love somebody in the material world. That means love is our nature. Soul likes to love, like to have relationships, sweet, lovely relationships. But if that is disturbed, then we become angry, we become frustrated, and actually we kill ourselves, materially and spiritually. Of course, spiritually, nobody can be killed because the soul is eternal. Nahanyate hanimani sharire. Soul never takes birth, nor does it die. It is eternal, nitya, shashvata purana, nahanyate hanimani sharire. So there's no end of the soul. But if one speaks about death of soul or killing the soul, means we are depriving the soul of spiritual life and to be in his natural svarup or engagement as a servant to Krishna. If we are depriving the soul from this opportunity, that's practically like suicide. So the goal is Krishna Prem, sadhya. It is there already. It's not coming from outside. We don't have to somehow develop it. Like love, you cannot develop. Either you have it or you don't have it. So similarly, Krishna Prem is already there. And it has to be awakened by Shravana Kirtanam. And in this way, we can learn how to serve Krishna in love, like the inhabitants of Vrindavan, in prema, prema bhakti. That we should never keep out of mind, even though we are engaged in occupations. And even if we are not there, everyone needs dreams, everyone needs a goal, desires. But instead that we keep it on small-term desires and needs, for our needs, we should stick it on the great goal of Krishna Prem. It's actually not so far away. It's most near. It's most near or most dear to us. But because we are so much covered by these coverings of Maya, so that we are thinking ourselves a product of this body, subtle and gross. As some people say nowadays, they have a new term for somebody who has a material body, terranaut. There's astronaut, and there are terranauts. So that means we're practically like an astronaut is dressed by his, we see them when they were so-called on the moon. These heavy dresses, what they have, and their helmets like that. So we are covered by terranaut, by the body made of earth, water, like that. By the earthly elements. So that's the And as long we are on this terronautic dress and we identify ourselves with it, then we cannot come to pure Krishna consciousness. Although the astronaut who is in his dress, he understands, I'm not this dress. I'm not this heavy dress. He's happy if he can come out of it. It's so heavy, you know. Of course, on the moon, it seems to be very light. They can jump around. But actually, it's a very heavy dress. And they can hardly move with it. You are so much limited. Actually, on this bodily gross body, we are so much limited. And especially the more we get getting older, we understand and realize our limitations on the bodily behavior. When we were young, we could jump and run and do all kinds of crazy things. Now, if you see the children playing around, you think, oh, they have so much energy, but we could also do that, but now we cannot do it anymore. Because we are really limited by the body. And that's the good thing in the old age. Some people or many people are afraid of old age, but old age is actually not bad. It's a part of life. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. So we cannot stop it. No religion can stop it. It's not a question of belief or not belief. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshana. This is the life. That's the material life. That's the program. This program can nobody deprogram. No scientist is able to do it. That's only bluff when they speak about that. They cannot do it. They cannot do it by themselves. Last Prabhupada is saying they're dying in the middle of their experiments, so-called. So birth, old age, disease, and death. This is the program of material life. But the soul. But we are not that changing of the body. We are the eternal soul. So, and for that, we have to try, we have to come out of this bodily conception and understand that my Swarup, Swarup Siddhi, if you gradually realize that your Swarup is that I'm eternal servant of Krishna in a certain rasa. Now we don't have to speculate how to attain that rasa and what kind of Swarup. It will become revealed by seva, by service. Don't think about your liberation. Don't think about your rasa in the spiritual world. Think just about seva. How to engage in this ninefold process with love and devotion under the direction of spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. And worship Gaura Nitai. Give your whole life to Gaura Nitai, to Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. And ultimately also to Krishna Balarama or Radha Krishna, accordingly. So that's the way how our relationship to Krishna will become revealed by pleasing Guru and the Vaishnavas and also Lord Chaitanya and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhakti is Krishna's Swarup Shakti. It's internal energy, and this energy is free. It is not limited. On the bodily platform, we are very much limited, but the spiritual platform is free. It's always young and fresh. Nava Yavanam. And Yadrichaya, as we heard, by good chance, by good fortune, one comes, if one attains the platform of Gyan, because Gyan itself will not give birth to Bhakti, but Gyan gives is a good base, a foundation. If we become fixed in Varnashram Dharma and ultimately to come to Gyan, that means guided by Vidhi, that we come good candidates so that bhakti will appear or become manifest and blossoms in our heart. Bhakti Lata Beach, the seed of bhakti will grow by the cultivation of hearing and chanting. Like that. So Lord Chaitanya, therefore Lord Chaitanya told, because Lord Chaitanya wanted to establish Prema Bhakti and even above that, he asked Ramananda Roy to tell something more. That's only external Varnashram. It's an external duty. Internal duty of the soul is love to Krishna and ultimately following the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. And this whole discussion between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya, or Lord Chaitanya with Ramananda Roy, is fully focused to show us the supreme goal and the supreme goal of life. I prepared another verse here to recite by Lord Brahma from 14th chapter, text 3, from 10th canto. Very famous verse, also quoted by Ramananda Roy. Gyane prayasam udapasya namanta eva chivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayasho chitta chitopi asitais trilokyam. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, that means in Varna, as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and with their body, words, and mind offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. Purport. Here the word udapasya clearly indicates that one should not even slightly endeavor to understand absolute truth by the process of mental speculation, but it invariably carries one to an imperfect, impersonal understanding of God. The word jivanti indicates that the devotee who always hears about Lord Krishna will go back home, back to Godhead, even if he can do nothing except maintain his existence and hear topics concerning the Lord. Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained the words Tanu Van Manobi by the body, words, and mind in the three ways. In reference to the devotees, through their body, words, and mind, they are able to conquer Lord Krishna, thus becoming perfect in Krishna consciousness. They can touch his lotus feet with their hands, call him to come with their words, and glorify him with their words, or speaking with him with their words, and attain his direct audience within their mind simply by thinking about him. There's a longer purport. So, and then the last verse I want to quote to you. It's from 11th canto, 3rd chapter, text 31. One of my favorite verses. Smaranta smarayantas ja mito gaugha haram harim bhaktya sanchataya bhaktya vibrat yut pulakam tanum. The devotees of the Lord constantly discuss the glories of the personality of Godhead among themselves. Thus they constantly remember the Lord and remind one another of his qualities and pastimes. In this way, by their devotion to the principles of Bhakti Yoga, the devotees please the personality of Godhead, who takes away from them everything inauspicious. Being purified of all impediments, that the devotees awakes to pure love to Godhead, and thus even within this world, You hear? Being purified of all impediments, all anarthas and obstacles to prema bhakti. The devotees awaken. It is already there, but your consciousness is already here. You don't have to take it from outside when you sleep. But you wake up to your consciousness. That means you wake up to your pure love, to Godhead. And thus, even within this world, their spiritualized bodies exhibit symptoms of transcendental ecstasy, such as standing of the bodily hairs, etc., etc. I will read the purport. This nice purport, short. The word augha, haram, is very significant in this verse. Agha refers to that which is inauspicious or sinful. Agha, aghasura. The living entity is actually Satchitananda Vigraha, or eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. But by neglecting his eternal relationship with Krishna, the personality of Godhead, he commits sinful activities and undergoes the inauspicious result in the form of material suffering. The chain of sinful reactions is called ogha, or a relentless wave of suffering. Krishna is aghauga haram harim. He takes away the sinful reaction of his devotees, who are thus entitled to experience the inconceivable bliss of the kingdom of God, even while remaining in this world. It means you don't have to wait for next life. And in this way, in this life, you remain rascal. Can already wake up now and experience already the bliss of Vaikuntha or Goloka in relation to Krishna. Don't wait of next life. So whatever consciousness and emotions you have in this life will bring you further in next life. Yam yam vapis maram bhavam yachanti anti kalaivaram. Tam tam evanti kauntiya sadada bhava bhavitaha. That's stated in the Gita. So the words bhaktya sanchataya bhaktya. It's also mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. Indicate that there are two divisions of Bhakti Yoga, Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. Actually, two divisions of Bhakti Yoga Sadhana. Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidhi, and Raganuga Bhakti Sadhana. Both is sadhana. So Srila Prabhupada has elaborately explained in his book, The Nectar of Devotion, the progress of the devotee from sadhana bhakti, that means Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, on the rules and the regulations, or the execution of regulative principles to raga, and then to come to Raganuga bhakti, also following the same regulations of hearing and chanting, but with much more realization, not because of must, not because of following a certain rule, a duty, but out of, I like it. You have a rasa, you establish a taste in it, some ruchi. And that is actually the raga. Shravanam Kirtanam always stays. The whole ninefold process is there in Vaidhi Bhakti and in Raga Bhakti. But the difference is a question of realization. First one is more mechanical or more out of rule and regulation. Second one is more spontaneous. You anyway do it, even without a must or because of a duty. You like it, because you have a natural taste. Like a river naturally flows to the ocean. Cannot stop it. Even if you put an, I would say, electrical powerhouse between it to I would say, to stop the water, it has to flow. You have to open the Schleuse, I say the gates, so that the water go on. So otherwise it will overflow. like ein Stausee. Stausee, you can stop the water for some time, but then and then it appears like a lake. But there's a wall there, and then if you don't open that, these openings, then the water will naturally overflow the borders of this artificial lake, and it will overflow the whole valley and all the villages and towns underneath. It's also happened many times. If too much water is coming up, and then they maybe cannot open it, or they something supernatural. So anyway, water cannot be stopped. So bhakti cannot be stopped. Raga, bhakti, and ultimately prema cannot be stopped. It will naturally flow to the lotus feet of Krishna. So the nectar of devotion, according to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a liberated soul is always enthusiastic due to the appearance of transcendental ecstasy within his body. Thus he always aspires to remain overwhelmed by chanting the glories of the personality of Godhead, Hari. So it's Nama Ruchi, the taste for the name, for the remembering the pastimes and to serve. It will become very natural. So everyone has to be engaged. Krishna says you have to engage, because if you are not engaging, your nature anyway will force you to work, to engage in according to your nature. But if you don't work for me, to please me, or work under my direction, then you go lost. You will anyway have to work, and then you will become frustrated and not satisfied, because you do it only for yourself, that work. That work, what you do for yourself, or extended selfishness in the name of doing good for others, it's shrama eva kevalam, it's a waste of the time. It's only a sense gratification, extended sense gratification. And it will bind you in the material world, and in the end you will lose everything. But whatever little progress, Nihapukramanasyasti, Pratyavayana vidyati, Svalpam apyasya dharmasya, samsidhir apidharmasya, Traite mahato bhayat. Even a little progress on this path of bhakti will deliver you from the greatest fear. And what is the greatest fear? The greatest fear is death for the conditioned souls on the bodily platform, because we think death is end, it's finished then. But the devotee understand, no, that is not the finish, it's the beginning for eternal life if you're a devotee. Yam yapismaram bhavam yachatyante kalevaram. If you think about Krishna in the time of death, you go to Krishna. So our whole work is now to engage in Krishna karma, to do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. Like the Varnashram dharmas, they do everything according to, they also have to work and they follow their occupations. A devotee is also following his occupations, but with Krishna in the center, not just to happiness of family life or yourself in the center or society, but Krishna in the center. And that's actually perfection of socialism or communism. Prabhupada says it's actually very good, but the center should be Krishna. When Krishna is the center, then that's the perfect society. And as soon we always put ourselves in the center, or money in the center, or some, how we say, oligarchs in the center, who tell us we should follow them, and they will give us everything what we need. They will supply us everything and make us happy. So we should make Krishna the boss. He's the same. Therefore, we should never give up the Krishna boss. Always keep him in your life. He's the only boss. He's Kartamashai. So he's in charge for our activities, and he's guiding us. And as long as we follow Krishna, then we are always in proper association and proper direction. You never become frustrated. So, Hare Krishna. So there are maybe some questions. Mahaparushika.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, thank you for a beautiful lecture. I will start my question with that I remembered that yesterday in the verse we read how Lord Brahma, he had a great grief because of miserable situations of living entities in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So today's verse you was reading to us, 11:20:11, it speaks about great fortune that can be attained by someone coming to Krishna consciousness, by awakening Krishna consciousness. So first thing I want to ask is, anyway, I will skip to the question. Sometimes we see persons around us. Sometimes we see persons around us, close to us, that they're in miserable conditions. Also, I may say, I am sometimes in miserable conditions and I need help.
Only sometimes you are very fortunate.
So we want to help the people to come out of miserable condition. But we could see that there is not enough of good fortune to come to some salvation by knowledge, transcendental knowledge like that. And now I have, Guru Maharaj, very personal question to you. Although once you said that Krishna and Guru, they will not force us because they know that ultimately everyone will come to Krishna consciousness. But now I want to ask you how you feel when you see that we, your disciples, we are not fortunate enough to accept Krishna consciousness until the level that is saving us from miserable positions.
As one thing you have to understand, even if you're a devotee, we are in the world of miseries, of diseases and death, and certain adhyatmika, bhautika, daivika klesha. So even for the devotee, it is there. The difference is, he's not he's still using these circumstances, even it's awkward, even if it is miserable or suffering for him, in the best way to still serve his Guru and Krishna. The best example is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, although he was a Nityasiddha, or he is a Nityasiddha devotee, eternal associate of Krishna, and his as he himself told, I never broke principle. I was born in Vaishnava family, and I never broke any principles of Vaishnava life. So he was always pure, and he was always fixed on Krishna. He never forget Krishna at any moment. From very childhood on, he was Krishna conscious until the end. But still he had to face so many sufferings from the body, from outside. So many people put obstacles in his projects, in his life, and in his mission especially, and then the disciples also, who created much troubles to him because of their unripeness and ambitiousness, and also Ishvara complexes. That's the problem, there are so many Ishvaras complexes. even amongst the devotees, you know, we have a tendency still to control, always to control somebody. Yeah? Because we are missing to control ourselves, but we like very much to control others. This tendency we ultimately have to give up. So a spiritual master, Acharya, like Srila Prabhupada, he understood I cannot control. I try to control my disciples according to Guru Sadhu Shastra direction, but he was not attached, you know, to that everyone has to follow now. So he did just his duty, he gave his best. But still there were so many obstacles coming, so many difficulties were coming. But Prabhupada always went on. He was not disturbed because his mind or his soul was completely fixed on Krishna and his Guru. Okay?
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
So the misery always remains, but the devotee, he doesn't pray to Krishna, please remove the miseries. No, there's even devotees who pray, please give me as much misery as I deserve, so that I can burn all my karma, although he has no karma, but in case I still have some from previous lives, I don't know. You please give me now so that I can completely become purified of prarabdha, apararabdha, karmas, so that I can fully engage in your loving devotional service one and forever. So therefore, the devotee is not afraid of the miseries. He's more concerned about the miseries of others, not because of their sufferings, but only because he knows the root disease of their suffering is forgetfulness of Krishna. And so therefore he likes to help them, to give them Krishna consciousness. He doesn't want to open hospitals for them and schools, and like the Mayavadis are doing. The Mayavadis, although they reject material world, this is all Maya, but still they're very much attached for philanthropic work. But the highest philanthropic work is actually to teach people bhakti, devotional service, how to love Krishna and how to serve him and to please him. Because the root cause, one has to cure the root cause of the disease, not the symptoms. The devotee understands, the Acharya understands, the root cause of disease, of material suffering is forgetfulness of Krishna. He's not concerned about his own sufferings and obstacles facing in his life, but he's concerned about others. Because he is actually good situated, because he's in Krishna consciousness. Even if he is diseased or he has obstacles and he's facing that, it's not a problem for a devotee, because the devotees are liberated already now. But others, they're suffering. They don't even know that actually the suffering will increase more and more, life after life. And that the Vaishnava likes to stop by giving Krishna consciousness. That's the importance. There's forest fire, and therefore the devotee likes to extinguish the forest fire, but he cannot extinguish by himself. So he calls for Krishna's cloud. Samsara davanala lida loka, pranaya karunya ganaganatva. So then And so that when by mercy of Vaishnava who feels compassion for others, then Krishna cannot keep himself back. Lord Chaitanya cannot keep himself back because he considers himself so much indebted to the devotee who voluntarily suffers for the sake of others that they can become Krishna conscious. Then the Lord appears and arranges something to extinguish this forest fire. But Vishwanath Chakravarti says completely extinguished, it will not become, because even if all living entities go back home, back to Godhead, there's other living entities who will come who are conditioned by material nature, and then they will fill the universe again. So it's an eternal job. Because living entities are unlimited. Okay, there's someone else who has a question. It's the Vanamali. The Vanamali.
Hi, Krishna. I would have two questions, one from the class from yesterday and one from today's class.
Yeah.
You were speaking about this, that even the one who think positive, they also start to doubt, and like everything becomes good, these positive thinkers. And I feel that there are still many of those people around who, even so some kind of waking up is there, but still they think everything becomes good. Just to believe this, that's enough. Just to believe that everything becomes good, that's just enough. And there are some like gurus behind, mainstreamer, who support this way of thinking, that they don't need to change. Everything becomes good.
Oh. Yeah. Only depends in which direction good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Materially good or spiritually good?
Okay.
Materially good.
Usually they cannot distinguish. They don't have any philosophy, so they can also not distinguish in which way. They just in some way are waking up, but not really waking up.
Yeah, I know people are nowadays so confused and bewildered, because nowadays they are so much afraid of diseases and of death, as death was not before. No? Before 2.5 years, 3 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, as long as material world exists, but death was here, diseases are there, old age is there. So we cannot stop it. So it will always go on. And therefore, if you think everything will become positive, everything will become good, yeah, okay, it comes good for you maybe, and for some like you. But ultimately, everyone has to face old age, disease, and death, and take birth again. And who knows in next life if you become take birth again in a human form of life? It's not a guarantee. If you're not working in this direction of actually act as a human. They always say we do good, everything will become good, no? But in the same time, you know, they're eating meat. That means they're creating a hell for the animals. So for some, they desire everything will become good, and for others, they actually make the arrangement. They even force it by consuming and eating this meat themselves, or eggs, or chickens. This is the crazy thing. They don't think that they don't consider this is also living entities. They're also part and parcels of God. But they think, yeah, they're meant for us for the food. No, it's not. That's now a problem, because so many, they're cultivating animal cultures and chicken cultures just to kill them. So they're creating, they want to have good fortune and everything will become good for ourselves, but for others, they don't make arrangement. And even Tolstoy, not to speak of other great authorities, that told you should, as long you are eating animals, food, meat, there will be slaughterhouses. As long you're maintaining slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. That's what he said. So that's natural action reaction. So it's not very intelligent to consider everything will be good. Yeah, everything can maybe become good, but what you will do out of this good situation? Again, go on with the same nonsense as 2.5 years ago? With the whole consummation, that will not come back, hopefully. That is craziness. We have to go on more further now and go more deeper in spiritual life. And then whatever ism we will have outside, no, for the devotee, it's actually not a problem because we are not politicians. We can serve Krishna in any circumstances. Doesn't depend about circumstances. And even when the bomb comes, like Prabhupada said, then you chant Hare Krishna. So anyway, everything is under control of Krishna. Krishna has the time. And actually the inventor of this atom bomb, the inventor of it, he actually regretted that he found out about it. And he actually read Bhagavad Gita. And he quoted one verse from 11th chapter, the time I am, who will devour and destroy everything. And he regretted. But unfortunately, although he made this, and he later on regretted, still he was smoking. He was a chain smoker, and in the end he died in early ages, not very old, in the 60s or something, on cancer from smoking too much. So you can kill yourself in this way, or kill yourself in another way, or kill others. The killing is always going on, and ultimately death is coming. Yamaraj is coming, and that is actually the greatest fear. And this you cannot overcome with positive thinking. Everything will be good. And the Yamadutas are standing before you. Then only one name is the codex, that they will not touch you. That's Krishna, Narayana, like Archamil. Otherwise, they will take you out. You can think positive or negative. They will take you. But if you chant Hare Krishna, because Yamaraj told them, don't go near to those who chant Hare Krishna, not even near. Don't even try to touch them, not to speak of touching them. Okay, Anna, Mali.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Okay, then we have Govardhan.
Yes, thank you very much, Guru Maharaj, for your lecture. On today's lecture, you mentioned that is for the soul, is it natural to love? And that he has a sweet relationships with others. But if he allows to himself to become upset or frustrated with somebody else actions, or that he's actually killing his life.
Yeah.
And it's at the end of all this, it seems to me, for me, it's like a closed circle from which I can't go out. So can you a little bit more elaborate on this? Thank you.
Elaborate on what?
About this, that for the soul is natural that to have a love and sweet relationships with others, but if he allows to himself to becomes with somebody else actioning frustrated, angry, although is that actioning maybe is really bad, but if he allows to himself to become agitated, that actually he's killing his own life, material, and I also think spiritual.
That means he kills his own opportunity, to make advancement in Krishna consciousness as spirit soul, to blossom and to grow as a spirit soul, to become to be a servant, eternal servant of Krishna. So it's natural to love. And that's described in the very beginning of Bhagavatam, I think in the second or third verse, I think second. This love, if it becomes disturbed, it turns into wrath, into anger, and sometimes even in killing each other. So that's the counter. It's called the counter love. If love is disturbed, it turns into anger. And it's very interesting in the spiritual world. Prema a stage of prema also turns into anger. It's called man. Radharani sometimes gets very angry on Krishna. This is called the counter love, because she is left wing. And because this nature is already there, it's the nature of love that it also can, I would say, has another side, like to become angry or even jealous towards the lover, and turns herself away from him, and even tries maybe to do something, not to see him anymore, and to speak in one sense some negative about him. This is natural in the spiritual world, in prema and love to Krishna. It's a higher development of prema. And because this is the natural, so in the material world it becomes the most degraded. So if love turns into lust, then anger and also jealousy, envy, and anger and wrath and so weiter, agitation becomes manifested. So that's the condition of material world, because it's only a reflection of the spiritual world. So that means we have to, through Bhakti Yoga, there's a transformation is taking place to purify our material attachments, first of all, and link them with Krishna, and to love, and instead to love material things, and now we love Krishna, and we are engaging in service to him, and with a full heart, you know, and love and emotion. And that's actually the medicine then. That's the way how you can completely counteract these emotions of on the material platform, to turn it into love to Krishna. We cannot kill or nullify, neutralize emotions. That's what the Buddhists and the Nirvishesha Sunyavadis want to do. For them, emotion is Maya. It's illusion. It's not wanted. No, but emotion is it's a life symptom of the soul. So if you kill the emotion of the soul, that means the propensity to love and to express feelings, you actually kill the soul. Clear? And that's actually what's going on today in our society, you know. The soul, the consciousness becomes killed, you know. The people already from childhood on, you know, they are trained to become programmized. So that they practically cannot show emotions anymore. They kill the emotions of the people. And the emotions appear in a relationship, you know, with family, with wife, children, husband, with friends, like that. No? But if this is all separated and now everyone becomes isolated and only lives for himself, then if you are not an I would say an Atmarama, or somebody who is satisfied in the self, you completely dry out. Therefore, Gyanis or intellectuals, philosophers, because they're mostly isolated, they're not so much famous as in personal relationship and love affairs. They're more interested in Gyan, in writing philosophies, mentals of their minds, speculations, intellectual understanding. And therefore, Gyan dries you out. Gyan completely kills also. The material Gyan kills your spiritual life. Therefore, this Gyan, what is taught nowadays in materialistic teachings, you know, it's killing your faith in God, your how we say relationship with people and loving and like that, and you can have many, I would say, relationships even. Not only married with one wife and husband and like that, can even have so many different interests, you know, and connections, and marry also. You know, nowadays what is going on. It's completely crazy, you know, and in this way they make the people more and more, that's the purpose, and they become more and more dry out and crazy, bewildered. But they don't even check it. That's the problem. Because a crazy man doesn't understand that he's crazy. And don't tell him, because if he becomes angry at you. Therefore, you have to be very careful to go to the people and tell them you're crazy. You have to be very diplomatic and courteous and psychological, you know. It's like a snake. Cannot make friendship with snake. So you have to charm the snake, you know, and with music, with mantras. But you cannot make friendship with the snake. And an envious person is worse than a snake. because a snake can be charmed, but an envious person or demoniac person cannot be charmed, because they're so arrogant, so out of the any kind of behavior, and therefore they think they can do whatever they like, because they don't believe in God. There's no punishment. So you maybe can positively, Vanamali, maybe can positively think like that. I can go on to be a rascal. There's anyway no punishment. Everything will be good. You close your eyes, ears, and mouth, but it will happen anyway. Okay. Go on. More clear a little?
Yes, very, very, very clear. Thank you very much. Oh, very deep, very deep. I just become a big ear. Thank you very much.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Good, then we can maybe one more question, or otherwise we stop.
Here from Avaduta, possible? One question.
You didn't raise your hand.
I don't have that option. I don't know. I was searching for, but
okay, then we make an exception.
You said that we should not lament, but
no, I didn't say we should not lament. Nectar of Devotion says don't lament too much. Don't become overwhelmed by lamentation. Lamentation is natural, but if you make an over lamenting, then that's only a sense gratification for yourself to show how much you are a sufferer and how much you're lamenting, And it's also an emotion.
I mean,
this kind of emotion of lamenting and be anger, this we should try to minimize. Not that we become overwhelmed by it.
What I was thinking to ask is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur have some songs where they lament.
Yeah,
but
they lament for Krishna. Don't confuse lamentation with Krishna, lamentation with material world, because there's lamentation. Because it's one of the 10 kinds of prayers. One of the 10 kinds of prayers is lamentation. You can reveal your heart and you're lamenting out of not having opportunity to serve Krishna and how much you're deprived of it because of your own nonsense and like that. That's Sharanagati prayers. And because there's lamentation in the spiritual world, in the material world it is also, but it's not favorable so much.
In some songs they lament because of being...
Hey, Avaduta, I already clarified it. It's spiritual lamentation. It's not...
some songs don't speak about lamentation for Radha Krishna, but because they are engrossed in the material life for so long time. So is this some spiritual lamentation? And they
spiritual lamentation, yeah. Because even Madhavendra Puri, he was lamenting. He was praying to how I'm so unfortunate that I don't can attain the Lord of my heart. And he was crying like somebody who is lamenting. Of not meeting his lover, Krishna. And then one foolish disciple told him, oh, maybe you should meditate on Brahmabhuta more. And then Guru became very angry at him and he thought, oh, what kind of misfortune. Now I'm feeling the separation of Krishna. Now such a fool tells me I should meditate about Brahmabhuta platform. So this kind of lamentation of overwhelmed by pain due to separation of Krishna, this is transcendental. Even if he laments about the material life and the tribulations he goes through, devotee may lament and pray to Krishna. It's not everyone the same, you know. Some lament, some lament, and some say, "Yeah, let me become more and more overcome by these difficulties and karma what I need, that I can suffer it because now my mind is fixed on you, so that I will not have in the future any more a karma what I have to that I have to come back." That's different realizations, Prabhuji. Because the one prayer is from Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya. The second prayer from Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Gaudiya Vaishnava. So for a Gaudiya Vaishnava, so he prays to Krishna, please deliver me from this situation so that I can engage in your devotional service. Remove all these obstacles. And he is lamenting for that. Because this lamentation, it's also stated in the Bhagavatam, this lamentation is a relief for a devotee, so that although the situation appears hopeless, it becomes positive. It turns into positive way. Therefore, there's one statement: hope against hope. One of Anubhav symptom is even there's no more hope, the devotee still has the hope, you know, to attain Krishna's mercy. Oh, yeah. Okay, Abadut.
Yes, thank you very much. I have one more question, if you are fired up.
No, fired up not so much, but if it is a good one, so let's see.
Well, it is a technical.
Yeah, mostly technical.
You quoted the Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema shloka.
Huh?
You quoted the Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema shloka from the CC. And some say it is not that Prema is eternally in the soul, but that Krishna Prema is eternally perfect. So in this way, they say Krishna Prema have to come from outside, have to be given by enlightened soul. So what you would answer on this? I'm just wondering.
Actually, there may be some Babas who are speaking like that, who have some ambitions, but we didn't learn this from Prabhupada. There's so many statements from Prabhupada. He says Krishna Prema is not coming from outside. It's already here, so and they only have to be awakened by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. That's our process. Others, they can propagate whatever they like. But they're not our gurus, they're not our acharyas. Therefore, Prabhupada said, be careful to go outside of ISKCON to take shiksha and even listen lectures from them. Don't do it. Otherwise, you poison yourself. Therefore, we have to be very careful to listen from outside. Tike?
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Otherwise, you speculate yourself out of the process. Good, and last question.
Can I ask the question from yesterday's class, short, to clarify something?
Yeah, but there's already the third question that costs something. Huh?
It's the second. It's only the second, Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
Yesterday you were mentioning these 4 people who are fortunate for devotional service. So these,
Sukritinas.
yes, so this the Jnani and the one who is curious and the one who is in need and the one who is suffering. So for me, it's like 2 groups, Jnani and the seeker. It's for me almost the same. I can hardly distinguish. And the one who is suffering and is in need, it's for me also the same category. Like if you're in need or like then it's like suffering. I cannot really distinguish. I only see 2 groups.
Oh, like the sages of Naimisharanya, they're considered Jigyasu. They're curious. So they approach Suta Goswami not for Gyan, they approach him out of curiosity to find out what he considers the goal of life, and ask some basic questions. What is the best benefit for people in Kali Yuga, and where Vedic knowledge or Krishna consciousness take shelter after Krishna left. So they were curious to hear from him, not because of developing knowledge, but just to hear. And the Gyanis are like those who are absorbed in Brahmavada. That means in knowledge about the absolute truth. So they're already the Brahmavadas, like Shukadev Goswami, like the Nava Yogendras, like the 4 Kumaras. They're prototypes of Jnani. And the Arti, the Arti is the one who is in need. That means he needs money. So far as I remember, he needs the money or material goods, And the Arti, the one who is needs food, and it is actually similar. But there's slight differences maybe in materialistic needs, selfish needs. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You can make out of these 4 2. Those were in material needs for the body, and those were in knowledge needs for the intellectual satisfaction, not for the cross body. These 2 kinds of personalities or types, they're approaching the Lord to get, I would say, to become satisfied by him. But as long they're not considered pure devotee, they're mixed with karma and gyan. So even the Jnani is not pure, although he's considered the best. He is the best because from Gyan, you have the good opportunity that somehow other, or good fortune that you can become open for bhakti. But all 4, or respectively 2 types of mentalities, can become candidates for bhakti if they are have good association of devotees. Okay.
Clarified. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. I also have to read the verse again, what Artha and Arthati, and sometimes also confusing. Anyway. But your point is good. Actually, that's 2. Two kinds are on bodily needs, and 2 kinds of intellectual needs. Good, then we can stop. Or one more question?
Can I pay for the next question? Short. Third one.
Okay.
You were speaking once about the essential verse in Bhagavad Gita 11:55, essential verse.
Yeah, essential verse.
And you were writing something about this in Tavakatamrita. Then there are these Chatur Shloki, and there is Sarva Dharma Parityaja. So I can not distinguish. There is essential verse, and what are the other called? The essential, I know now it's 11:55, and the others, how you distinguish those?
I would say the like Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, they are the seed. In one sense, we can also say essence, but it's actually more the seed of the Bhagavatam. The four seeds of Bhagavatam are the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, and these 4 verses from the 10th chapter, what you mentioned, 10, 7, and until 11. That's also the seed of Bhagavad Gita. And the essence, especially from the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and also what I heard from whole Bhagavad Gita is 11:55. And 18:55, the Sarva Dharma Parityaja, 1866 is the, I would say, the Siddhanta. Siddhanta means the goal, the goal of the Bhagavad Gita. Because every book, if you write a book, you need to have a goal, sadhya. Huh? And the goal of Bhagavad Gita is Sarva Dharma Parityaja. And Man Mana Bhava Mapakto. These 2 verses, they are the goals. To think about Krishna, to surrender to Krishna, to offer obeisances and prayers to Krishna, and offer your whole self to Krishna. This is the goal of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Okay.
Thank you also for this clarification. Very nice. Thank you.
Good, then we can stop here, huh? And Mahananda has a question. He always has good questions, but he's always a little shy. Good, and anyway, we meet again at 2 o'clock today, huh? Some Gita starting project. Good, see you then. Hare Krishna. Glory to Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.